God bless everybody today. It's January 28th of 2024. I've got two articles I want to bring to you. But the first article I'm going to bring to your attention is tragic, and I had warned that this was going to escalate if we had loss of life on one of our bases from one of these attacks, and that has just occurred. We had 3 U.S. troops killed and 34 wounded from a one-way attack drone that basically had a huge lethal load on the drone, and when it hit this base, it was in like a barracks area. It killed 3 of our people and wounded 34 of them. So this is going to escalate this conflict, and we're going to have to do a retaliatory strike because we know Iran did it. So I wanted to bring this to your attention. Number one, we've lost troops, so we should be praying for these families that have lost their service members, and that this is just escalating. We should be very diligent in keeping up with all these things so we know exactly what's going on out here. Now, one of the problems that we've been talking about on this channel is they're not responding adequately to the attacks that have been going on since October 17th. We've had 150 attacks on our troops from these Iranian-backed militia, and they haven't done hardly anything. They've only attacked maybe a half dozen times, 8 times at the most, in retaliatory action to this, other than they're attacking the Houthis. So now we have men killed in the field, and we have all these people wounded, and a lot of people are being evacuated to Jordan and different care centers. And so right now they're all being teleported to these locations so that they can take care of our people. So we should be praying for these people to get there safely and to heal through these wounds, and hopefully there's not life-sustaining injuries and things like that. So I just wanted to make you aware of this. Of course, Joe Biden now is going to come and tell you how his heart is so heavy, and we're going to hold all those people responsible for his deficiency in not doing what he's required to, which is to show these people a strong hand. If you know anything about the Muslims or these radicalized groups over there, and they're not all about the Muslims, it's about the radicalized Muslims, okay? There's a lot of good Muslims out here, so don't get me wrong. But these groups will do anything to eliminate the Jews and the Christians, okay? And they only understand force, okay? So if you're the biggest, baddest guy on the planet, that's what they understand. And because we aren't showing that kind of leadership in the world, and I know you got to carry a big stick, I get it, but that's what keeps the world in place. These kind of actions are going to keep manifesting, and they're just going to increase, because now what are we going to do? Now they're talking about what? Launching an attack into Iran? Oh, and maybe we won't take responsibility for that attack. Or maybe we'll assassinate a high-level leader somewhere in Iran. Or maybe we'll hit a bunch of targets outside of Iran or inside of Iran. You're literally escalating to the point of a war with Iran, okay? And we just funneled all kinds of money and all kinds of things to them so that they have basically, enough firepower to matter here, with potentially on the cusp of getting a nuclear weapon. And so this is a real problem. So I wanted to bring this to your attention. This is a real problem in the sense that we will see an escalation now, and this will bring us further into the war, and that's just a problem in general. And actually, I have another article here I want to bring to your attention first. I think this is extremely important, and I saw something similar happen back when Trump was a president, and I'm afraid that this might happen again. So they're talking about basically pulling all of our troops out of Syria and Iraq. This was in the last 4 days this article came out, actually. And so one of my concerns has been, not that I don't want them to take our people out, but if they do take our people out and we remove our troops from Syria and Iraq, that will create a vacuum. That vacuum will immediately be filled by somebody. And in this case, I believe that will be filled by Turkey in a lot of ways. Of course, you'll see Iran and all these other proxies and stuff vying for position. But I believe that Turkey will be one of those main people that come in and fill that vacuum. One of the reasons I say that is, in that 6 SEAL video that I just did, it indicates that the Trump administration on October 6th of 2019 had ordered the American troops to withdraw from northeastern Syria. And then on October 9th of 2019, Turkey took advantage of that and immediately started launching airstrikes and border town strikes against that nation. And they started those 30-mile buffer zones. And that happened on October 9th of 2019 through Operation Peace Spring, which ended up turning into a bigger confrontation on November 20th of 2022 during Operation Claw Sword. So that was a complete vacuum that filled once he left. We removed those troops and immediately that vacuum was filled by Turkey. I believe that that vacuum could be again filled by Turkey, and I've talked about an invasion by Turkey as we move forward, because you have a Daniel 8 effect against the Kurds or the Medes coming up. So this article came out on January 25th, and I had warned that we shouldn't be there because we're every country and nation is going to turn against Israel, and we will abandon them. So what's the point of having our guys over there, was sort of my gist. But in that same breath, there's ramifications for us pulling our troops out, and that is that we will see a vacuum happen. This same vacuum similarly happened in Afghanistan, and the Taliban took over. Okay, and that was a Joe Biden thing. So this isn't just a Trump thing, a Biden thing, or whatever thing. Each leader we've had for some time have done these kind of things that have put us into a worse condition in the Middle East. So I just wanted to bring this article to your attention, because it's extremely important that if you remove these troops, and we don't have a lot of troops over there, and what's interesting is they would pull out of Syria first, and then that would remove the 900 people in Syria, and then that would leave the Kurds in a really terrible place, as this is indicating, because now we're not there helping the Kurds anymore. And guess what? Turkey's going to come in and hit that vacuum. Now this is the northeast area that they're talking about here. Turkey's getting ready to procure his F-16s from the United States, so he's going to have 120 F-16s all ready to be fired up and ready to go. We would remove our 900 troops. Now, there's no definitive action, but if they would, and they want to get them out of there, because now they're all in harm's way, and now we just had this this base get blown up, and they targeted one of our barracks, and, you know, we had those 3 people killed and 34 people wounded. That would then fill this vacuum so Turkey could come down against the Kurds, and we wouldn't be in the position to do anything about it. And then the senior official of the U.S. comes out and tells, in this article, CNN of all people, this is not considered a withdrawal of forces from Syria. Well, if you take all 900 troops out, what do you call it? We're not there anymore. And in that same breath, they would then pull those 2,000 troops from Iraq out, and that would open up that front. So I just want you to be aware of that, and that is a potential. The other article I wanted to bring to your attention, this is extremely important. Yemen Houthis have fired a ballistic missile, not a normal missile, a ballistic missile, which is a much higher payload, much faster missile at one of these ships. Actually, it was carrying Russian oil of all things, so that didn't go over well because they weren't supposed to be targeting anything but Israeli type stuff. So Russia's got a problem now. But regardless, they hit this ship in the Sea of Aden. The reason this is so important is if you look at the Sea of Aden and where this happened, you realize two things occurred when that happened. Not only did we see a much more sophisticated ballistic missile launched at this ship, it's further out in the ocean or the sea, and so that would be a regional problem because that means that the targeting area that the Houthis are hitting is becoming much larger, which is causing more problems in the Red Sea with shipping. Because of that, the reach is further out. The demographic moves out, and so that means that these ships can't do anything to go through this area. And they're indiscriminately bombing just about everything out there. So nobody's, it doesn't have to be an Israeli ship that's getting hit, or payload of Israeli stuff that's going to Israel that's going to get hit. It could be anybody's ships at this point. So this is a real problem as we move forward, and it has already raised oil. Brent oil is up over $85 a barrel. That's going to start to see fuel pump problems as we move forward, because when you go to the pump, you're starting to watch those prices move up. That's starting to hyperinflate everything because that changes our dynamic of shipping. The other thing that I think is extremely important to think about here, I want you to think about what's happening, because you're going to start to see shortfalls on the shelves in front of you because of the delays that are happening around the globe right now, and they're expanding these shipping links out in the transportation times that it takes them to move the freight, and they're having to move it around things, and they're picking people to ship it to because they're picking the ones that they want to ship it to. They might rather want to ship it to a place closer to them than the United States. Okay? And they're sort of boycotting us in Israel right now due to our actions over there. So, and China's potentially getting ready to go to war with Taiwan, which is going to cause us all kinds of problems. If that happens, if you have a disruptive issue like this, not only do your fuels go up, but you start to see shortfalls of all kinds of products on the shelves. So this has been going on for a few weeks now, and you're starting to see those shortfalls on the shelves already. I'm starting to get reports that Walmart can't find everything they need to stock, that certain things they can't get, or they're delayed due to the time lapse of the shipping that's occurring out here. And so in this article, I thought it was extremely important that not only are they talking about the delays from these attacks and all the pressure that's coming out of China, and China's slowing down, they're also, you have these shipping costs that are getting higher. If they'll actually insure these guys to go through certain areas at all anymore, and that a lot of these products are going to be pushed off for potentially a few months before you can see this stuff on the shelf again. So you have a certain supply in your warehouses right now. When those supplies run out and they can't get more, you're going to see shortfalls on your shelves. You're going to start to see all kinds of holes. I keep talking about how we get into February, March, and April, which is going to be extremely bad, especially if you have that Fed window shut on March 11th, that this could all start to radiate into a real nightmare on finding products and getting the things that you need. And so when these companies don't have the products, they're going to shelve other things on there to make it look like they're filling the shelves up with stuff that really you're going to look at it and go, why is that wasn't like that? Why do I have those kind of products here? Because they don't have the other stuff. So you're going to realize that not only is these huge shipping container charges that are being placed on these shipping companies, the insurance is extremely high because they don't want to insure these guys through certain areas. It takes longer to get the products around there. It also reduces the amount of shipping containers and ships that can be used, because if you're using 25% more containers to move this stuff around things, and it takes longer, so it averages out to about a 25% deficit once you take an extra 30 or 45 days to get to your destination. These ships are being used up when they would normally be freed up to use, to be used up to other shipments and things like that. So, these shipping ships are lengthening out their transports, and so it turns into a deficit. Let's say maybe 25% deficit. Well, you don't have a lot of extra containers out here and things that you can put ship. You only have so many ships out here, so you're having a shortfall in the actual ships because of the length of time and duration that they have to transport this stuff. So you have to think about that deficit out there too. What I'm saying is that by April, if this continues, which I don't see it letting up, and it's actually accelerating out here, you're not going to find certain products on the shelves here soon. A lot of stuff comes from China. If they go to war with Taiwan, 90% of your products won't be on the shelves anymore. It's just that simple. So maybe you need to go talk to your regional players out here, producers, people that grow vegetables and things, and produce, things like that around the area, that you can start to talk to them and use potentially regional players, because you may walk into the Walmarts and the stores around this area and not find your stuff anymore here soon. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is enjoy the products that you do have right now, because they may not be there very much longer. So, if you have comfort foods or things that you really enjoy, you might want to savor those a little more, because they might start to be in a shortfall here soon, and you might just not be able to get these types of things as we move forward. So your world's getting ready to change. February is going to start to hit, because now we're cycling into almost a month of these attacks in the Red Sea. And as you move through the next 2 or 3 months into April, as I've been talking, you potentially could see a real problem with the banks around the middle of March. You're going to start to see this disintegrate fairly soon. So I want to bring these things to your attention. But two things really happened. This attack with a ballistic missile in the Sea of Aden, which radiated out into a deeper portion of the Sea of Aden. So the demographic moved out. That means that it's harder to police all these areas. These are big bodies of water, okay? They can't have ships just everywhere. The other thing that happened is we had this attack on our base where we had 3 people killed and 34 people wounded, and this will escalate, and this will also affect the markets probably on Monday. I know it's affecting oil right now, so you maybe want to go out and fill your car up, because fuels are going to start moving up quickly if this continues. And if this really breaks, you'll watch oil double overnight. So God bless everybody. Have a great night. find the open door, find Jesus, be safe out there, and please put oil in your lamp. God bless.